the lower bracket round 1.
Radiant's
Exciting.
LD. I'm massively excited for this game. I didn't think the first series would actually be interesting at all.
Navi versus 4 Anchors, not interesting at all.
Well, I honestly thought 4 Anchors were going to like stomp them into the dirt.
Really?
Yeah.
Toby not believing in Navi.
It's a new world,
times
everyone.
have really
It's a
changed.
brand new world. Before we jump into our world, which we get to live for the next 3 hours,
5 seconds.
Syndra,
Hurry,
Draskell,
hurry.
welcome, boys. Vega up against Ninjas in Pyjamas is our series for the day. Thoughts before we jump to draft?
I'm kind of
Dire's
favoring
bad.
Vega a little bit here, just because I had an opportunity to watch them play against London Conspiracy earlier. I mean, that was obviously the match that was postponed, and we did have potentially a tiebreaker situation, and I think that Vega performed very well. It was a very fast 2-0.
Okay. So what do you think, 2-0 or 2-1 against
Only
NiP?
10
2-1,
seconds.
I would say, for Vega.
I'm sticking to what I said at the end of the last game. I think
5
2-0 for
seconds
NiP. I think they're the
remaining.
more versatile team. I think they're stronger. As Hani also brought up, probably had the harder group as well and still
Reserve
got through.
time.
So I'm favoring them. I think part of the reason Vega looked good was that they're against a less experienced team, and
It's possible,
and that
yeah.
London Conspiracy didn't pull out their they came in
Radiant's
really
bad.
hot, but then when it really mattered, they kind of crumbled a bit. So
I'll agree. I think 2-1
sure.
NIP as well.
Okay.
Just hopping on the bandwagon.
Most CIS teams are volatile, right? Like sometimes
Yeah.
they bring their A game and they just smash, and then other days you don't know what to expect from them. So it is possible either way.
I also agree with what I think it was Hani or
10
Sin said
seconds
in
to
the panel
pick.
previously that NIP has a better chance of beating 4 Anchors, so I'm kind of hoping they go
5
along.
seconds. Hurry, hurry.
because you want 4 Anchors to lose.
No, just because I want to see a better match. Anyway, we've got a draft. It is pretty
Yes.
far
Dire's
along, and
bad.
we are going to hop into it.
Yeah, that we are. And, well, we were expecting it in this series because both teams really love to see it come through, but that IO has managed to slip through the bands of war in the first 2 and find its way in, as well as the Quap. Like,
10
such
seconds
great
to pick.
laners for NiP. I'm surprised Vega were willing to do this. Like, I know taking out the Disruptor, he's like,
5
he's been
seconds
like, one of the
remaining.
big picks for all of the qualifiers, really. But to let Ninjas in Pyjamas have first their
Reserve
Wisp
time.
to potential tiny combo with Era, but you're also giving the very strong laner of Queen of Pain to their mid. Like, is this really a great idea for Vega?
NIP have run Disruptor 5 times in the qualifier, so I think that's about, or it might actually be exactly half of their games. It's a lot anyway, so I think with that in mind, they maybe want to mix things up here. What's interesting, though, is that NIP did not take the
Dire
Wisp right
team
away, and I
pick.
think maybe Vega was expecting that. Just leaving in the pool, they've got Era, who's known for playing a lot of those hard carries historically, and they certainly can run the Wisp, so maybe NIP trying to one-up them, save it for the second pick, and they were probably a little surprised Vega didn't want it either.
It might have been one of those hard heroes to pick up at the very, very start too. Like, especially when Queen of Pain is still in the pool, the burst damage up against Wisp, you're going to lose him instantly. So why take the risk? Like, why not just secure your lanes to start with? There's so much
Only
riding on the
10
line of one
seconds.
best of 3 up against a team that is renowned for team fighting and pushing. Not to mention great synergy during their team
Radiant
fight.
team
So
are now picking.
I'm not surprised they picked a slightly squishier but combo hero later on.
I actually kind of like Vegas draft at the moment, just because Wisp does have a tendency to make your lanes not necessarily weaker, but you have to lane in a specific way. So you either do like tri-lane or you go dual lanes, correct? So Vega, they have potentially a Leshrac versus Queen matchup, which
Dire
isn't
team
so
are
bad
picking.
for the Lesh. Like you probably end up trading farm, you spam Lightning Storm for CS. I've even seen some Leshracs in the qualifiers win
Yeah,
up against
I have
Queen,
as well.
1 versus 1. So I don't think that's a loss either way. I feel right now that the Rubik and the Wisp combination of supports for NiP is extremely weak, and Vega already have a Darkseer. So I'm feeling like this is something that Vega could be looking to punish, basically.
I agree. I'm surprised they actually picked the Rubik into this.
Yep.
I don't know what the idea is. It's possible
10
that they want
seconds
to.
to pick.
I mean, just seeing this makes me think NiP already want to run
5
2-1-2
seconds.
because
Hurry,
else picking Rubik
hurry.
as the tri-laner together with Wisp just seems super greedy and just a way to lose space to Darkseer.
Reserve
So
time.
I am imagining perhaps we're going to see them pull out a dual lane off lane with the Wisp.
Bristleback, perhaps?
Bristleback, Juggernaut. Juggernaut's actually really good against all of Vega's heroes.
Lifestealer is good as well.
Shaker, Lifestealer could be good.
Radiant team
That's an era
picks.
class.
Surge counters
So
are
wait,
pretty
wait,
hard.
do you
though.
think it's Safe Flame Queen versus Darkseer, and then 2 mid, 2 top?
No, it's
or
not.
Queen mid, and then like Wisp dual lane top.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
what I was thinking. And then you put Rubik bottom with someone who lanes well against Darkseer. Who is still in the pool? There's actually, if they want to try to go for it, there actually still is a Drow in this pool.
That's possible.
Have we seen any Drow in Europe? I feel like this hero, we were casting
Only
China
10
previously, at
seconds.
least most of us were here, and it was like Drow was just auto-picked or banned every game.
5
Nobody
seconds.
in Europe
we saw her a
Hurry,
couple of
hurry.
times.
Vega ran it in the last series against LC.
I saw, I think
Reserve
LC ran it too
time.
and won in 13 minutes or 14 minutes in a game I cast. So
It's really interesting because, I mean, that hero seems like it can just be a trump card in a lot of drafts. I'm not sure if it would be this game necessarily, but it feels like it's the type of hero that at some point is going to get bust out in a big playoff match.
I don't think it's good enough with the other heroes they have.
Yeah.
It's too much squish, and you go and try to hit towers, and you could just get wombo combo to death.
And these two supports don't really hit hard anyway, even with a Drow aura. Yeah, I would agree.
No.
I still kind of favor Vega's lineup a lot. I think that their mid game is stronger. I think that potentially they could also have better lanes just because NiP have picked their support combo very early on.
Finally.
And they're going to pick a puck, which leads me more to believe that Drow could work, but it's an all-in maneuver, I think, if you go Drow here.
You could do it where you like, because that's what a lot of conspiracy people do. They're running like a phase boot puck on the off lane. And I think that wasn't them. That was actually in the Chinese game where they ran a Facebook puck. And you just had so much damage, you're able to win basically your lane hands down with just being the puck. But if you had a little bit of help, like a Rubik behind you, can find like, nice and early kills. But yeah, I think we might be sitting a little bit too much on the
That's a really good ban.
Ooh.
Husker, last one.
Yeah, NiP have run it before. Aaron actually likes that hero quite a bit. And if you look
Really
at Vega,
good with the Wisp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
their physical damage
that was
is
a really good ban.
nothing.
I really like your idea of Lifestealer. There's a lot of merit to it now. They have Puck as a vehicle,
10
they have
seconds
Io
to
as the
pick.
combination. After that, they can just tether and keep the ball rolling. He counters
5
Gyro and
seconds.
Leshrac both
Hurry,
pretty well.
hurry.
The main problem is that Darkseer has Surge, but now that they have Dream Coil, that's not going to save the
Team
target
pick.
from just getting laid into by the Lifestealer. So I'm actually pretty confident that that is NiP's choice if it wasn't Husker. I don't know what else would be a solution, and I'm kind of with you that almost no matter what they pick, I feel like Ninjas and Pyjamas draft might actually be weaker, so they're going to have to win on execution.
At least in maybe, well, their lanes, what? Lesh Queen is even, I guess. And that means we're looking at potentially Puck off lane,
Only
which will
10
probably
seconds.
get very little, if anything.
Or Rubik Puck. Or
Yeah.
Wisp Puck.
5 seconds.
Wisp Puck would be
remaining.
pretty funny to watch.
Yeah.
I'm curious though what Vega are going to end up with here. I mean, they already have such good team fight.
Reserve
Like, they could
time.
pretty much pick anything they wanted.
I think it's better if they put Puck mid and Quap off lane. I think that was just flat out better laning for them. Cause
Phase shift because Lightning Storm and it's easier to be able to trade.
yeah,
I
think
agree.
I think Puck does better in that lane in general, and there's not much pressure on Quap as it stands right now in that top lane. If it's a Shaker support and a Gyro core,
And
if
can-
the last support counters Quap, then maybe. Okay, now it's hard.
And can also do more to harass the
Radiant
Gyro
team
than
pick.
what a Puck could.
Yeah.
Just as a question, how is NiP meant to actually win this game? Like, we don't know who the last one exactly is yet, but how they're meant to go high ground, because they're going up against so much control, so much counter push as well from Vega if they have the high ground, or even if they don't have the high ground. Like, I'm worried that NiP, if they can't get an initiation, they just can't finish this game.
And it's pretty scary to relocate offensively this game, which means they really need the Puck to be the...
10
It feels like
seconds
the
to
Puck
pick.
has to go off to me this game, at least the way the draft looks right now. Else you're relocating to
seconds.
Fissure,
Hurry,
Vacuum,
hurry.
Call Down, all kinds of crazy...
I think that NiP might
AoE.
actually be more dependent on the
Reserve
Puck coil
time.
than the Queen being level 6, so I
Yeah.
kind of agree with Sin that it will most likely be the Puck going mid up against Leshrac. But they do get their hands on the Bristleback anyway. I think this is a very nice pick. They had no frontline hero at all. Like, all of their heroes are just paper for what Vega have as a wombo combo. But I'm not entirely sure if that's going to save them, per se, during the mid game, but it is, I think, an okay solution, because I don't believe they had a mech carrier either, and I think Bristleback might end up being the one who
Wisp
buys
sometimes
mech.
gets it, but
Yeah,
it's not reliable.
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a good last pick too. I was still thinking Lifestealer was going to be a solid choice, but now they at least have some more flexibility with their lanes. Now they can actually, now they have the potential of winning all 3 lanes actually. The Wisp plus Bristleback has a pretty good matchup in the top lane. Shaker isn't that good against it, neither's Lion, very low damage. There's a there's a Gyro, but if you get one good play out of your Wisp, maybe you can win that lane. Your mid lane, probably Puck versus Lesh is winnable, and bottom lane Quap versus Darkseer is, I guess,
Only
a
10
wash if he just
seconds.
skips the creep.
And Rubik, kind of the X factors, maybe pulling,
Yeah.
maybe ganking a bit.
5 seconds remain.
Would you agree, Andy? You think that this is a likely chance for NiP to win all 3 lanes here?
Yeah, the Bristleback is a much stronger laning pick than a Lifestealer, hands down. Now, the Lifestealer potentially gives you more mid-game teamfight potential, but I
Just a
think the
minute or
biggest
so
issue
now
where
until the
NiP
game
were going to
starts.
struggle was their
Patience.
lanes, looking at what Vega has. So I think it's going to be a relatively even game. I still slightly favor Vega, but it's like 55-45. Like, it could go either way.
All right, well, I think it's time to get into it. So we'll come back for your thoughts later, boys. And for now, we're going to have the WoW combo. It's going to be myself as well as LD. to be your commentators for this series.
Oh man, this should be a fun cast. We have
It
not cast
should be.
together since I think 2012.
It was a long time ago,
It was
man.
shortly after TI2, if I recall
It was.
correctly.
That was a very, very long time ago. But it's mainly because like we're doing it also for the fans. We're doing it for the kids. That's what we're doing it for. We're doing it for the kids who have requested time and time again that we can't. So we put ourselves at the lower bracket final. We could have done it for the grand final, but it only would have been real El Clasico if it was Navi versus
30
Alliance
seconds
in
to
that one.
battle.
Well, who knows, man? Maybe it'll be so hyped they'll be asking for us back.
Oh my god!
Wow.
It's so amazing! Well, I'm looking forward to getting out of this way, and I'm also really happy now with the Bristleback last pickup, because it feels like NiP, like the boys were saying too, you've got some strength, you got your front line hero. Everyone was basically paper until this point. I'm looking at Vega, and even if NiP had like a 20k net worth early on, it was still going to end really, really badly. They're going to contest for the top room. The Vidya actually blocking in Era as well as Seal Kid with a follow-up stun. They don't really have some great damage here, so it's just secure the rune and get the hell out.
Well, they get the double bounty off the bat, and last I heard the stat, I think it's like teams that get double bounty rune at the minute 0, like 64% win rate. So if you're a Vega fan, you're feeling pretty good right now.
If you bet all those wonderful rares on them, sure. I feel even more confident seeing this man here. Like, we're looking at him, Mag as this Darkseer. For me, I always have loved his offlane. I'm really happy that Vega's had a lot more success of late. Primarily just because like there's so much talent in the European scene, which hasn't qualified for TI already, that these guys really do deserve a chance to get in.
So looking at this top lane here, Toby, you know, the Andy as well as Sin, they talked about this not being the strongest tri lane for NiP, just on the basis of the support picks. Now, I think given that there's a Bristle, one of the best early laning partners for a Wisp, I think it's a bit stronger than what they were thinking, but still pretty risky to go aggro tri lane here off the bat. Vega already getting their pull, so they're going to be pretty happy about that. And I think the two solo lanes here, fairly even in both. Queen of Pain likely to be able to harass Darkseer here, but he can always just cut the wave. So already seen that tower getting pushed in a bit, and looks like it'll be a bit of a farm trade in the end.
I'm a little bit wondering about it too, because you've got the Rubik up here on the top lane. Now, Wisp as well as Bristleback obviously want to find their levels as quick as they possibly can, be it high points up in spray or back or whatever, and especially for the relocate. But you've got a Rubik that's also hanging around here. I'm not seeing Vega putting themselves in a position where they're going to take a fight up against NiP. They're quite happy just to farm this lane up. If there is an opportunity for it, sure, go for it. But it's a very, very difficult to kill lane unless you find the Wisp, but he's always hanging at the back. So you wonder, what can Rubik do up against the Darkseer? Is it enough to bring him down there and buy some extra space for the Quap?
Yeah, it may not be, and I guess the big downside is that they're going to fall behind on levels here, potentially. They're still level 1 on the supports, it looks like.
Yeah.
Whereas Vega already got their pull-off, so that's something that ideally NiP either get in there and body block it, at least leech some experience, but so far they haven't been able to do so. And I think the reason is the fissure. You have to be very worried about getting fissure blocked and all of a sudden giving up a very quick first blood.
I'd just be really worried about giving early advantage to the Vega lanes, especially a hero like Darkseer who can get all of this solo experience. Like, if you can get that telekinesis grab on him while he's surging away, then Queen of Pain might be able to finish the job. With a Shadow Strike, you got the slow, you might be able to get like 1 or 2 screams up on him. There's potential for kill factor there, so I'd like to see Rubik transition down once he hits level 2, and you should have Quap around level 4 or so. So you've got some kill potential in that bottom lane. I'm not saying Steel Kid should be on bottom lane so we can just do the pull and stack and things like that, because that could turn on its head, because Darkseer obviously can help clear all of that.
He does have a ward bottom, so if Rubik wants to make a move there, either he's going to need to smoke or he's likely to be scouted out. But I think it's definitely in the playbook here for NiP. It's just going to depend on what they get out of the top lane. They are Radiant, so they're able to get their own pull going. We saw them using it earlier here. And so far, in terms of farm, looks like all the core is very, very even. It's so far like the slightest of advantages from lane to lane.
It's like no team wants to make a mistake. It's the first game of a 3 games of a best of 3. Like, if you lose this, you're 1 loss away from being completely eliminated from TI.
And this one's for this is for all the marbles. There is absolutely no margin for error. So very stressful game already.
Yeah.
Despite no kills.
It's when you have these type of games, you play passive. You play to your farm. You play to your timings. Like NiP, they're not really forced to fight here. Like, Unison farm, he wants to find extra levels until he's got that burst kill potential, or potentially a better control factor coming in with an Orchid or Scythe, or I'm not going to go directly to Scythe, but like some extra control factor over Vega that'll help him find the kills. And the Puck wants to wait till he has Blink Dagger before he does anything, and the Bristle is just very content to do his thing on top lane. If the supports can make an opening for it, he'll try and pounce. And the same thing can be said for Vega. Darkseer needs to find levels. The sweet spot is level 13, level 12. Leshrac needs to find farm before he can stand in the fights. Earthshaker wants a Blink Dagger. Lion wants a Blink Dagger. Two actually very greedy supports from Vega. And then you got the Gyro, who also needs a lot of farm.
Well, it looks like 4 heroes converging on the top lane. Fissure blocks Seal Kid off. This could be trouble. Toby's tethered up. The lift comes out, but easily popped by Pasha. First blood goes to Vega. And I do want to point out, Vega have been controlling the runes really well. They got another double rune spawn there. They picked up the bottom invis for the Darkseer, the bounty rune top. And NiP just not getting, aside from the first blood, they're not shutting down the Gyrocopter too much here. He's sitting at 15 CS. And, I mean, there's other options here for NiP. If they don't want to put the Rubik bottom, they could at least stack Ancients with him, do something. But right now, he's just not getting much accomplished here in the top lane.
No, he's not. There's no kill potential. It's this lane which can look a little scary, but it's not that scary. And if you only had the Wisp up there, he would have tethered over the top of the Fissure and potentially away. But you've got a very hard to move here like a Rubik. Like if someone's got the other side like this can sort of work, but then space is just created by Seema, who sticks very close, and the Fissure. They can even turn this one around. No one's going to return to the top lane. He walked up here before him. This time he'll TP in, looking for that stone era, faked it out the first time, then just goes into Lightning instead. This is actually a bit of a win for NiP because they forced no one to move up to the top lane, and he'll have to walk back down to mid. So he's losing a large amount of CS in that mid.
Yeah, that's if they're going to leave it as a tri-lane top, they have to make plays like that. Like you said, even though they don't get a kill, free lane for Puck mid is going to capitalize on this, get a couple of extra CS going, and should have a fast level 6. In fact, it's already out before the 6-minute mark. Bottle coming back out. I would like to see Limp with an early TP though, because I feel like he may be required for them to win that top lane.
It's kind of going to go the other way though, doesn't it? Like the Vega TP and the Leshrac on top of the tier 1 tower when NiP are pushing up to that, and if Vega try and get up in the face of NiP underneath their tier 1 tower, then it also makes a lot of sense. Even if it's just a little bit further north of that, that will also work.
So they are not transitioning. Sealkit is staying top. He went to scout the rune, it looks like, and it's going to be Limp who ends up grabbing an illusion rune here. Bottom lane, a dead even trade so far, and I think if you're a Darkseer in general, you're always happy if you get free farm in the laning stage, so here we go top.
Big opening with Pasha. The Fissure doesn't help him out. Solo tried to split it up, but Pasha, he needs one more spray there from here to do the job, and he's going to do it, and that's huge. Not only is it a kill for the Bristleback, but it's also the death of the Gyro. You're going to slow down his progression into damage-shielding items, and that means the Wisp, the Rubik, and the Puck can be a lot more viable in this mid-game. It's not going to slow him down that much in the early stages, but it's something if they can keep it up.
Yeah, this is what the doctor ordered. With this and even CS right now, I think NiP going to be more happy with the way the game's developing. Queen of Pain does pick up a TP, has the ultimate. Puck, I believe, now holding one as well. They've got two huge team fight playmakers in the Queen of Pain and the Puck, and I think that's where Vega, having the Darkseer at this stage, not always guaranteed to offer as much in the fight, so perhaps we see NiP look to exploit that, but they have to leave when the lanes are pushed, else it's going to be very obvious. And looks like there's no wards on the map right now. We just see one get dropped down mid at the hill, but there's no lane ward top, which is where a rotation could work out pretty nice.
I'm actually wondering if Rubik was trying to cut through the tree line just then, because he came in very close to the tree line, just to the south of the tier 1 tower of Dire. And if they can cut a small little path through there, his telekinesis can do a lot more work. The range isn't too bad, and they've got an observer ward looking towards the tower, not from behind.
That's a pretty cool place to put the lane ward. It doesn't see quite as much behind the tower, but anyone who TP's in, you'll generally get the vision, and much less likely to be dewarded. But here we go, Toby. 3-hero rotation towards the top rune, and it looks like they may look to stack the Ancients here as well, potentially. Let's see, is Limp going to? Yeah, he'll take that job over. They're going to start to give the Bristleback a little pot of gold to walk back to, and it looks like this time NiP will get a double rune spot.
Radiant's middle
It's kind of weird that they left the entire lane. Like the Bristleback could have sat in the tree line or somewhere around there. The main reason I think was just because you've removed the Wisp from the lane, you've removed the Rubik from the lane, the Bristleback's just scared he's going to feed another kill.
Yeah, he cannot. He dies there. He gives a huge swing of momentum to Vega. So
Yeah.
well, and the lane was also had been pushed a bit, and then it started going back the other way. So I don't think they actually missed more than a creep or two. But well, back to laning for now. Fairly quiet early game here, but it feels like as soon as a few key items and levels come out, this game could get really explosive.
Oh yeah,
The Blink Dagger on the puck probably, to me, being the biggest one.
These team fights are going to be insane when they start up. It's going to be watching the Bristleback tank through everything Vega throw at him, and you're also looking at Vega with that first wombo combo. That's why I kind of want to watch the Earthshaker as well. It's kind of this weird thing with Vega, where now they've got two supports. So I said previously, like they both want to have Blink Daggers, but someone's going to have to sacrifice themselves.
And they're not the best farming supports either.
Correct. Like
And
it's not like the SK we had like in the last game series,
Exactly.
where you can sandstorm farm up. Like, what are you going to do? Earth spike a wave or?
Yeah, these supports to me are generally the type to get their blinks. You see them farming a lane board in the mid game, like when Leshrac goes to the jungle. That's normally where a hero like Lion will take over mid, but they're a bit worried about leaving this tri-lane top in their own right because they know just how scary Bristleback Wisp can be. And we're going to see Rubik make a move. May head towards mid here, try to...
Well, he just purchased some smoke, which is coming out in the courier at the moment. But
still no boots here for Seal Kid.
It looks like actually a one-man smoke to go to the mid lane fight. And just buy space for Limp, because that would work. A telekinesis control time would be enough that you can come in, you can get the silence, then if you can get the right time for the coil, you'll definitely hit your illusionary orb. And the damage isn't too bad with the 4-2 combo.
Oh, he's going to get the D-ward here. This will be very nice for Limp. Nighttime should be coming in the next couple of minutes, and with that D-ward, they might be able to make a play, but again, Rubik has no boot, so this is a fair... They really need a good coil if they're going to have any chance of finding a kill mid.
Whispers decided to take a bit of a vacation to the Dire jungle, so I don't know what he's searching for. If you try and check and see if there's any camps here, if Darkseer wants to try and back up anytime soon, and maybe that's what it's for, just to see if he's there ready to flash farm, but with an illusion rune for the wonderful Leshrac, he'll end up scouting out the fact that NiP are in their jungle.
Yeah, they actually have three... Although their supports are not that good at farming stacks, their cores are excellent at it. Gyrocopter, Darkseer, and Leshrac. So, a nice move. Unfortunately, Leshrac had already cleared out his big camp. I didn't actually see if he stacked it, but either way, getting a bit of bonus gold there. Looks like bottom lane there will be a TP for the puck. Looking for the first Dream Coil. Here we go.
Adding in that extra stomp, the damage will be enough, especially when you commit a sonic wave like that. He was going to die anyway from the TP, from the Dream Coil break when he TP'd back. I think they're also looking to go up again on top lane because they're very, very close. That Rubik, see, that's that small little path I was talking about. It's only going to take maybe one tango cut through if he actually had a tango and he could go for it, but they're going to initiate in. The TP's coming as two players from behind, the Earthshaker as well as the line, but your pickup is going to give a nice AoE stun, buying Era some space, but there's just so much stun when no one also arrives to the fight. So they end up killing up the Bristleback, but at the same time, you did lose the Darkseer. So it's a trade-off, really. You traded your off-lane for your off-lane fun, in a way.
I'd say about 50-50. It was a 4-hero rotation from Vega. I didn't actually see if they used a smoke for the backstab or if they just walked around, but I believe there's a Radiant ward there near the hill, so they must have smoked or they would have been spotted. So in that sense, Vega also used a smoke, and so maybe even a slight win for NiP across the two fights.
Yeah, it's still insanely close.
Yeah.
Very, very close. Like you look at the top 4 heroes together. You are separated by a grand total of maybe 400 gold.
It's one of the most even games we've had so far this qualifier. We're early in it in game number 1 here. Puck is gonna find a bounty rune. Meanwhile, the Queen Pain getting the invis. That's the one cool thing about running these two heroes as the cores is, yeah, they didn't secure the runes early, but at this stage of the game, two of the most mobile laners, and Vega are kind of nervous about walking off on their own, worried that if the two cores join up together, they can easily find a kill. But again, Toby, I am still worried about this Rubik. 600 net worth. I think he's almost has his boots now, but this is a support that needs at least basic farm and levels in order to have an impact later on.
At the same time, like my concern is actually on a completely different point of this game, and that's the initiation from Vega. Like, where is it really coming? Are you going to use primarily Surge?
It's only
to make
the
things
supports.
happen?
The supports have to farm Blinks.
Yeah, but currently they're not doing so, and like, you might want to rotate a Lesh or a Darkseer. Like, a Darkseer can go to the jungle, and then you can give space to the Lion as well as the Earthshaker, but still, like, Pasha requires so much farm on that gyro to be really, really effective or some really good team fights, but they don't have the way to start the team fights. And NiP have the perfect way to counter-initiate the team fight. And I don't think NiP are even going to be looking to do that. Like, later on, Bristleback will be sitting there going, I'm more tanky than anybody else in the world. But the Queen of Pain is getting very close to finishing up her Orchid. And I'm worried for Vega that they've given too much time for NiP to really get into these lanes when they could have potentially been a little bit more aggressive with the Lion and the Earthshaker. Get up in the face of the Wisp and the Rubik a little bit more. Like, I know it's been a couple of rotations, but it's still 2 kills in just shy of 14 minutes. That's not as much as I'd really expect, especially from an Earthshaker. Like, his hero used to be the perfect support roaming around and throw down one Fisher, lane is one kind of thing, and then you do that on all 3 lanes and you win all 3 lanes. But right now I'm not feeling the presence of it at all.
It's part of the beauty of running the puck mid is you see the lightning start to bounce, you can phase shift dodge that.
Yeah.
And he's a very difficult gank if you don't hit the full rotation of nukes. So I think that's
how you meant to kill the puck or the quals.
Speaking of the puck, has the Blink Dagger now limp, almost getting stunned. No one actually leading with the Edict, and in comes the relocate. Fisher blocking all 3-way, then the perfect follow-up stun for the Lion, but still, they get over the top of the Bristleback, and in he goes onto no one. Queen of Pain all comes through. They get 2 already. Toby, there's the 3rd. Great fight so far for NiP.
Man, that was perfect. The positioning from Unison Farm coming up the river. He hit 2 heroes with that, and that really just crippled the fight from Vega. And the relocate so early in from Hanskin. They're looking to go even deeper. Pasha underneath this tier 1 tower, but Era as well as Hanskin, they can commit to this or at least force exactly that. The TP out. Not only do Vega lose 3 heroes, they lose their time in the lane. Lion's coming back, but I'm not sure about this because Queen of Pain is still here. The blink up to Santi never even got the stun up. All the Hex, all the Finger, which is the only thing that will be required to kill off Limp, and you can't TP more in. The Gyro just TP back. Solo's all alone on the top lane. It's 7 to 10, and that has escalated very, very quickly.
It was just 2 to 2. It's been a team wipe. It's now 7 to 2. This is okay. Not an even game anymore. This is getting out of control. NiP will take the tier 1 top as well. They can defend mid. I believe it's not that low from the left track. Maybe this tower drops. Edict was used, but there's a glyph available. It's likely to get denied or even counterplay happening on no one if he sticks around too long. Now he's put the tower into deny range, and in comes the TP from the Rubik, who has suddenly hit level 6. I don't think he... Oh, it looks like he's got some items flying out as he's got 1,300 net worth now. So finally, Seal Kitty's got his boots. Hooray!
He'll finally be a master of magic and also be on the treadmill at the same time. And NiP, they're gonna be so overjoyed at this moment. Like, it was such a stalemate. Like no one wanted to flinch, no one wanted to make the play. Vega only did it when NiP pushed the issue slightly, and then just a big cluster fight. That's really what that ended up turning into. And Vega,
good recovery, but nice save.
Yeah, and then he just continued on the top lane. Like the Gyrocopter TP'd out. He says, "I don't want any more of this," and the rest of Vega TP'd in.
They should not have TP'd in.
Yeah, that was the emergency call to basically go for the shell. It didn't happen, and no one. Well.
They're getting run over. They're about to get the Queen of Pain Orchid as well, which means they have every single core item that they need. The supports had a slightly slow start on the top lane, but Wisp has level 6, Rubik does as well, and the Wisp's actually getting decent farm here, already up to 2,700 net worth. At least like 60 to 70% of the Darkseer's net worth, which is quite impressive.
They're looking at Seema too. They're even going to relocate in for this in case support does arrive. And that's a dream call. It actually catches Mag. He'll take the stun from this Unison Farm. He does have a Sonic Wave available. It won't be enough to instantly kill off Mag. They'll need to Scream with it as well. But that Lion has been sitting on top of that Observer Ward for the last 30 seconds, while NiP have been walking around inside the Fog of War right around that ward.
They do a finger now, and I think Vega need to look for a smoke gank here. Use the finger, try and find a pick off. The problem is that NiP are just taking so many objectives, so everybody's getting farmed, everybody's beginning to get tanky, and
I would actually ask you the question, who can you finger and kill?
Wisp if you find him, but that's the main one.
What's Wisp got on him at the moment? Because he should still be walking around with a bottle, but yeah, he's got an earn up to 910 HP.
Maybe even the Rubik, but these cores are very difficult to bring down. They can kill the puck if they get a Hex off, but maybe Surge into Hex. I think that's probably the best initiation they'll have until they get the Blink Daggers. And at this rate, it's going to be a while until they get them.
Yeah. You just need to play the vision game at the moment. You need to get rid of these wards. Like the fact that Lion died where he died, he may just put that down to basic NiP rotations, but they need to get rid of the observers before NiP can then set up. Because if they can set up, then Puck's going to jump in, get the perfect silences on either the... he's searching for the Earthshaker and the Lion every time he jumps in. You silence these two heroes, and Vega's control is Lightning, Split Earth, Vac, and Call Down. That's all that's really there, and that's not a reliable stun up against heroes like Queen of Pain and Puck, who are very, very like versatile and moving all the time. I'm saying lightning and I'm saying control because it's slow only. But if NiP can see where Vega are, then they've lost the fight at this point. They need a better advantage going into it.
Yeah, this is. I mean, you called it the dream coil. It was a dream coil. It's a dream start for NiP. Everything that their lineup needs. This is an okay lineup at playing from behind, but definitely not great. They have mainly just decent split push, but they don't have the strongest late game. But I think, given the lead, Vega have to be very worried because they're all about the team fight, but I don't know if they're really going to get those team fights. NiP can spread the map, and if they just choose to come for you, it's because they're so tanky and farm that they feel like their bristleback is never going to die, and they have, as you've already mentioned several times, the excellent initiation from the Puck. So we'll have a pause here. It looks like some audio issues for NiP, but yeah, I think for Vega, they're going to need to make a smoke play soon. Else, NiP will be looking to start taking tier 2s. Wisp already picked up a cloak. I'm not sure if this will be a full pipe build, but with the urn and the cloak, Wisp begins to get tanky. We see a casual cloak on the bristleback as well.
It's actually... okay, so they're going to go anyway. If they smoke gank and they fail,
they're going to get slaughtered is the
Yeah.
problem. They're relocate.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's very risky because NiP do have excellent counter initiation.
is it almost better for Vega? I don't want to say to lose the tier 2, just to lose the tier 2 towers outright, but try and find as much farm around the map as possible and wait for NiP to come up, because NiP is still limited by the bristleback. Until Bristle is, as you said, like tanky, can tank everything Vega throw at him, like, they can't go high ground. They still require the pickoffs. So if you can, it's hard to play the vision battle when you're trapped inside your own base. It's hard to play Dota when you're trapped inside your own base. But it kind of feels like their only option. Either it's not YOLO, but it's, you give her a crack, you try and smoke gank, you try and find the openings. Even if you don't, leave some observer wards to go for your next smoke gank directly after. Or you have to wait for NiP to come to you and prepare as best you possibly can. Make sure you don't lose too much so you can still hold high ground, because Vega's high ground defense is still very, very good.
It is. I feel the real issue here is this is not Na'Vi playing. This is NiP. And NiP is not a team that's known for overextending too much. Once in a while, I'm not saying they're perfect robots, but they tend to play pretty safely, pretty conservatively, and wait for their timings before they make a push. And so it's like if Na'Vi's in this position, I could totally see them overextending, forcing the issue, give up a couple of kills, and give Vega an opening.
So you're saying Vega can't just wait for the mistake?
It might come, but it's I feel like the percentage chance of that gross of a mistake happening is fairly low. But you make a good point. If you go aggressive, relocate can really ruin you. So it's where you kind of have to find the Wisp first, else you'll just get destroyed in the fight.
You're basically fighting on two sides when the fight begins, because the relocate's going to bring in the bristleback behind you. So you've got a huge tanky guy, and normally he's going to be between you and your ex-support, which means you're going to get at least 3 core sprays on you, and probably a huge amount of physical damage being applied to you as well, where the other players then coming from the front disable you. So the only option I really see for Vega is you get this fissure, you get the finger of death off, you get the follow-up stun, and you get rid of either Quap or Puck at the start of the fight. One of these two heroes has to die before the fight begins for Vega to win. And then you hope that NiP walk into the middle of a cooldown. Vac, I'm not going to say the wall's going to do a hell of a lot, but it's something, and that'll buy a space for even the Leshrac to get some damage out. Now, Solo's broken the smoke, but he's actually in a really nice position. And now, while they see him, the orb actually reveals, and Solo's going to drop.
Fortunately, Seal Kid only stealing Enchant Totem there. That would have been a complete disaster if he gets Fissure as well. But still a nice pick for NiP. The smoke broke. They knew there was really only one place he could be where they wouldn't have seen him already, and that was in those trees. So a good pick off there. Leshrac is getting his farm on here. We see he's building towards the Bloodstone. The Gyrocopter is also farming reasonably well. It's just these supports who are really suffering, especially the Earthshaker, the Lion. We talked about already, the thing with Vega is they don't have initiation so much from their cores. It's really on the supports to provide that. So I think what they're looking for is the Gyro BKB, and then they'll probably try and find that fight, whether it's baiting an NiP or potentially even risking a smoke gank. They are close to the BKB now.
Once you get there, maybe it'll be possible.
They're farming pretty well given the early pressure from NiP. You look at the cores, it's only the Darkseer who's really fallen behind. Everyone else is more or less keeping the pace. It's still a pretty even game.
It's actually quite nice though, with the lineup that Vega have. Flash farming's not that difficult. Like you see Latrax, like you just split Earth, Lightning, Pulse Nova if you really need to, and then get yourself out of trouble. Or Darkseid with a 4-level Iron Shell, you could throw 2 of these down and you mop through most of what's going to be there. And Bizarre could get Rocket Barrage and everything else. Seema, except the fact he's dead, runaway mag, right decision, especially the right decision when that relocate's going to arrive. So Vega are fine with this. You've just blown the relocate, so the team fight doesn't look as scary.
And they have their BKB on Gyro. I wonder if they're considering a defense, but the Lion is an important part of it.
I would actually consider forcing the hand and looking down towards Roshan.
Arrow's trying to spread the map here.
I don't know if there's enough damage for it, but you might be able to actually find some of the NiP players worried about it. So you try and bait the fact you're going for Roshan. Just what have you got to scout for? You got Orb, and that's basically it. On Spirit Pulse.
The problem is Vega's push is pretty poor.
Yeah,
they don't have a medallion. NiP likely knows that because their supports are played from behind, and
Jara's got no damage.
they have no minus armor. So I doubt NiP's even worried about a Roche, to be totally honest. It's more Vega who needs to be worried, because with Goo and Bristle with Wisp, you can take it quite early. It's kind of slow going, but with a medallion, they can definitely do it. And I think at some point they'll want a medallion in this one. It's just so good on the Bristle when sieging.
Yeah, straight TP out. The damage is already reaching a critical point for him, so he had to get out of that one. I just don't know how else Vega can force the hand of NiP, because you use relocate, you're not going to push the tier 2 tower. So you have to wait then. So then it's all up to Vega to try and find more vision, more... Okay, now they actually lose that as well.
You keep on talking about the vision battle, and I think it's a great point. NiP are just dominating the vision battle. Every time Vega try to get a ward out, they get dewarded. Part of this comes down to gold, where the supports on NiP can afford to buy extra sentries if they need to. They'll probably have a gem first at the rate the game's going. I don't think we'll see one now, but more in the next 5-10 minutes.
It's the sacrificial Rubik, really. It's just like sentry ward. The second you got 200 gold, just buy a new set of sentry wards. We'll make sure that Vega can't see anything on the map, and we can see everything.
And vision is everything when you're running this type of draft. You want to be able to relocate safely. You want to know if Vega are setting traps for you, and you also want them to be afraid of that play, so that they're less efficient. They don't farm as much. We'll now see the counter D ward coming out, but here's Seal Kid. Relocate's coming.
This is not where he wants to be. Seema actually gets us done the surge away with a fusion block, with the Dream Core catching out too. The Meg Charge is available for them, but it will not keep him alive long enough. Mag at least, wow, they actually afforded a Glimmer Cape. That's going to get him away to safety. And the call down is more of a cover fire than anything else, making sure that NiP don't get any more than the Lion.
Just excellent defensive play by the Lion. Still NiP get the kill, and it doesn't really cost them anything. At this point, relocate being down it's not something Vega can really punish. They just go back to sitting in their lanes, and again, this is where, what do? Do you smoke gank and risk getting relocated on? You have a small window now where it's on cooldown, but you're also missing one of your best heroes to initiate those ganks. I feel NiP are just in such a strong strategic position, and it all goes back to that one fight top. Was 2-2, even game, suddenly 7-2.
If they can give Solo space to get his Blink Dagger, or Lion space to get Blink Dagger, then Vega can do a smoke gank. Until that point, I don't think there's much point to it. It's just... It's almost a waste of smoke. Like, you've got a better chance of winning a fight if you just sit on a hill waiting for NiP to walk closer to you. That's kind of the position they're in right now, and they know it. That's why they're not coming out and just 5-manning down a lane waiting for NiP to respond, because also then you're going to go into a trade-off wall with a huge physical damage like Bristleback, and then you lose that fight, you're going to lose the tower, and you're probably going to lose Roshan as well. Or at least now you have the potential to contest Roshan.
The big thing I would like to see is that NiP continue to try to slow down the Vega economy. We see a good Observer Ward in the Dire Jungle, but I'm not sure. I don't think they've warded the Ancients once yet, and you have to know Vega are farming these at this point.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's important for them. We've seen the Ancient stacked a second time now, at least, if not a third.
Now this is actually a real fun quick off. Like, doesn't really cost much. The TP is on the way from the puck, and already it's a BKB TP out.
Smart.
It's something.
Radiant's
It's something.
bottom tower is
That ended
all
a
it
nice
was.
kill streak there, actually. Gyro got a lot of gold out of that.
How many kills did Wisp have in a row? Like, he kind of picked up that. No, he had 3 actually. Yeah.
It was like I think it said it was a 650 gold kill. That's pretty big for the Gyro at this stage.
Denied.
And they also denied the bottom tower, so it's
626.
it's not fantastic, because it's gonna be half of what you can get from before, but it's something for Vega.
And they do have an Earthshaker Blink, Toby. 26 minutes in.
That's actually huge.
The main thing Solo has done is just not die. He's hardly hit creeps this game, but that's really all you need. Things are going to get a little bit scarier here for NiP if they get out of position, because now Vega are starting to get the tools to be able to punish that. This could get interesting.
I'm wondering if it was actually Solo in the old Warcraft 3 version that bought all the Soul Ring recipes, leave them inside the base, and then ended up selling
sell them all.
Yeah, because it was like reliable gold, but in this case, obviously, you don't have to do such a thing. But it's this: make sure I don't die, or if I die, I don't lose any of my money, which I've worked so hard to live as it ticks over for.
I remember casting a game in Dota 2 where someone did that, and then eventually, I believe it got changed in a patch. But
yeah,
here
it might have
comes.
been that early item manipulation. Oh, Liv is the first one to be shown, and they just have to start with the Echo Slam. Follow-up times, Finger of Death. That's how they get back into this game. But they do expend a hell of a lot. But this really gets in so far. The Sonic Wave will come in. No one can't TP out in time. The cost is very high for the kill on the puck. But it's something. It's showing that Vega can come to the fights and actually bring something. And it was also a denial. So they actually only got a 1-for-1 trade-off here.
That's good for Vega in the end, I think. And they also
Blink
forced
Solo.
him to relocate. Solo could be in trouble though. Gets hit by the quills, can't blink out in the end. And now, although the fissure comes, they've got follow-up damage. Orchid there, another kill, mega kill for Jonas already. He continues to just pile them up.
His blink was actually off cooldown too as he ran up the river. So he had the chance to
Radiant's
blink,
bottom
but he
tower
didn't have
is
the
being
vision. There was a Radiant Observe Ward that was on top of the hill, so he didn't know
That
he was under pressure. And the second he came up that ramp, he got hit by the quill spray.
Oh, now NiP find the Ancients. I guess they already cleared the double stack because it's just a single set of Ancient Black Dragons now, but Arrow will happily take that, and
He's not finishing it.
Gyrocopter has quietly become the most farmed hero in the game, I want to point out. He was split pushing bottom while that fight broke out mid. He did take the tower even though it got denied, and he got the Wisp kill. Vega are not out of this game yet. It's quite a substantial lead for NiP, but it's also the kind of lead that one bad fight can completely throw away.
Oh yeah. Vega can just have that huge ass combo. And I never want to underestimate the amount of damage that Gyrocopter can deal in such a short period of time as well. Even though Flat Cannon was severely nerfed, it still can really take a team by surprise, especially when you got such squishy heroes in the field.
The one concern here for NiP is they do have quite a lot of magic damage. The Bristle, kind of more damage over time, although it's physical, and you've got the Quapple, but Shrek is building towards a BKB. They've already got one on the Gyrocopter. At some point, these heroes get very sustainable in prolonged fights. Octarine Core comes out, Gyrocopter gets a Satanic. Now, that's looking like probably like 10 to 15 minutes down the road, at least 5 to 10, I would say. But if they manage to get to that point, then I think NiP's lineup really falls off, barring big items like a Hex on the puck, perhaps Queen of Pain getting a Refresher Orb or a Hex of her own. Here is the smoke, though, from NiP. They want to make a play here. So we see the Eagle Song coming out, I should say, for the Gyrocopter. He will be building towards a butterfly.
Man, he read it perfectly. As you said, like this is one of those games where the only damage, like if you can have the BKB, you'll avoid all of the magical damage, which is normally the nukes at the start. So if you get the timing right, there's not much more for NiP to throw out. And the Bristleback is a guy who is not wanting to build into a Monkey King bar on this hero.
I think he will, but it's normally not in your kit at this stage.
He's forced to, really.
It's like your 4th or 5th item in this kind of situation.
Because if he doesn't, like if we look like 20 minutes into the future here and you don't have a Monkey King bar over on the Bristleback and the initial burst damage from NiP, which you have to still keep in mind, like it's an orb and a sonic wave and a scream. Like that's the initial burst damage. So most Gyros got to handle that. If you can get to a point where you have Butterfly, Manta, as well as your BKB and Satanic, which I'm assuming that the Gyro, if this game keeps going the way it is right now, should be able to get to that point. You're looking at a hero who cannot die, because they just can't bring him down. And if you got a mischance on top of that with the Bristleback's physical damage, that's the only way they can finally put him in the grave.
That's where NiP will need hexes, possibly the MKB you mentioned for sure, and maybe even an Abyssal Blade on the Bristle. So there are solutions, but those solutions require a lot of farm. And for now, it is NiP continuing to out-farm Vega, but Vega's still stubbornly holding on to all 3 tier 2s. I mean, Toby, they lost 3 tier 1s in like 5 minutes, and we're now 30 minutes in, yet to drop a single additional tower.
This is really impressive.
They're handling this well, even though they're still losing.
Well, they got an opening right now on bottom. It's also with the call down, keeping Ira away, and they actually relocate out of here. But there's more TPs coming into the tier 2 tower. They're looking to defend his position, or at least allow for the relocate back. Now, there's no back available, so they can't interrupt him, but they do have, actually, they bring them both back in. Ira in there, Sonic Wave! The Lion's gonna drop, the Mech Charge came in too late. The BKB TP out will end up saving the Gyro, but no one also BKB TP out. So many defensive BKBs from Vega, and this is real trouble. So even worse when Matt gets caught out by the Dream Call, so at least NiP, for the commitment they have, will pick up 2 heroes from Vega.
It really did not look like the relocate was needed. I think Bristle could have run away, but the cool thing about it was that it set up the rest of the team to get in position so they could take the fight and crush Vega. Vega, that line's squishy. That was just the Queen of Pain ult, and he pretty much died from full health.
Man, Vega didn't know why they were jamming us. But right now, this means NiP, you win one fight, you go in for Roshan. And that's what it's all about. You can get this Aegis Maul on the back of the spec. You can push up high ground, and he has actually started going into that matchup. The Aghanim Scepter on Puck. You've now got the stun, which goes through the immunity. It's real rough for Vega.
They're just not making mistakes, to be honest. NiP, where have they given up free kills? Even when they lost, I think it was the Puck who died mid to the Earthshaker Blink Gun Melt, they still got a counter kill, as well as the Leshrac Bloodstone deny. Anytime that Vega makes a play, NiP are there to respond, and they're not giving up freebies. This is, to me, one of the scariest teams in the European qualifier, and to some extent even in the world, to give up a lead to, because, again, they tend not to throw games very often. And for now, up 17-4, still a manageable lead. This is one big team fight in the Vega base, but it just feels like NiP are getting into a good rhythm here. Now they have the Aegis, they're going to finish the Hex, it looks like, on Jonas very soon. Seal Kid can start to farm towards his Blink Dagger. I mean, he has been the total sacrificial lamb this game. Even the Wisp sitting on 1,400 gold. Bristleback Basher, as you mentioned, completed. And I believe Puck is going to have his next item soon as well. So I mean, they're getting, got the Ags. That's really fast Puck Ags. This is a scary start here for NiP.
Yeah, it really is. I still am questioning their ability to finish. Like, that's really what it comes down to. I was questioning it before the full spec pickup came. And I'm still technically questioning it too, because NiP, you think about it, so they were playing the Vision game. And mass wards being expended by both teams. D-ward here, D-ward there.
They could go on top.
Where was the Vision? Okay, yeah, they can easily kill off Pasha here. Like, this should be an epic performance. Blink, Scythe of Vice start it with it, and then the rest of the team just come in, and they'll bring down the Gyro. But this is what they kind of have to stop. They need to stop Vega's ability and comfort just to leave their base. Come out to the camps which are close to your own base, farm them up, push out the lanes, like even that far. Like, there's no way, there's no business that Gyro should have mentally thinking 33 minutes in, I can survive up against a relocate team where my tier 1 tower is already exploded. Like, that shouldn't be happening.
And now that they know about the Hex, he's going to have to play more carefully. He didn't have buyback there. Now, it doesn't matter in this case, but you go forward a bit in this game, assuming NiP managed to take out a tier 2 or 2, all of a sudden you give up a kill like that, you may lose a lane of racks. So I would agree. I think it's important for NiP to continue to put the fear of God in Vega, and they're still focusing on farming for now. As far as breaking the base goes, I think that is generally the weakness of the NiP draft. Excellent ganking lineup, good map control, not the best high ground siege. Bristleback is, of course, the key for that. So to me, it's like ideal scenario is you find a pick off with the Queen of Pain, Blink Hex combination. Maybe Puck gets a Hex later on. For now, just as the Ags. And then after that pick, you go high ground. Solar Crest would be a great item for this team to put on the Bristleback. Maybe he builds towards an Assault Cuirass, but they do need some of those new items that have come out to something potentially even like in Lotus Orb to help deal with the Lion initiation. A lot of these targeted spells like Fissure potentially. We'll see where they go, but I think NiP looking towards breaking the base. It's just a matter of piling on some of those big, beefy frontline type items.
It's like Vega is now trying to use no one as bait, but it's too obvious. No one's defending the top lane, no one's trying to pull the creep wave off. Yeah, you could do that. Like, you'd have Iron Shells up here, Lightning or Fissures or whatever. Like, this could all just stall up the pushes. So, Vega go for the only thing they really can do, and that's a trade-off. And they come to the right lane. They come to the lane which has the Wisp in it. So, you're not fighting this instant, like, 3 turns of 5 kind of battle if that's what you think is going to come your way. And you could technically go for the tower trade-off. Queen of Pain's just taking it on top. I'm also wondering, too, when Unison Farm potentially could die, because he's on a 7 kill streak at the moment. That's worth a lot of money, and it may just be enough for Gyroscope to get himself over the edge and grab either the Monkey King bar or go in for the straight kill power of Daedalus and then eventually Rapier.
Not while he has Aegis. I think with Aegis and BKB, there's basically no way they can put that place unless he dies to the base. So once the Aegis is down, though, it just takes one good initiation. Lion, I believe, still nowhere near the Blink Dagger, only 1,500 net worth. Shaker has it.
I don't think he can. In fact, I think Lion's actually got to even sacrifice
He might
his
get
Blink
caught
Dagger.
here. Jonas is waiting in position. There's the silence, lipped and dead, and they steal the Hex. That's a big spell.
And if that happened 15 seconds later, like we only just hit our nighttime, and the vision was just so bad. Unison farm actually blinked into this one. It's the Aegis Maul is going to trigger, and the support coming in. The Fissure won't do anything. It's the BKB protecting Pasha, as he'll end up leaving, but they do find another opening. It's a ping up in the air, but that is in fact Mag, and he's being orbed up, silenced up, no escape, even with a mech charge. 20-4 and NiP. It's just one nail after the other being put into the Vega coffin, but they're not buried.
Clinical. NiP, they look like a surgeon just dissecting Vega on the operating table right now, giving no quarter. And just not giving them opportunities to get back in this game. But in that case, the Fissure does end up preventing a potential batch from the Bristleback, but Gyro's BKB has been used every single time just to BKB and TP out. You got the one kill on Wisp Bottom since then. We've seen absolutely nothing. Now the siege begins, Toby. They've got the tethered up overcharged Bristle.
That's a good Fissure front. That's a really good Fissure. It controls Era on the front lines. That means no one can go to work, but this BKB, it just lasts for the whole duration of the Fissure control. So all the magical damage they want to chip him down with did nothing.
Decent hold though. They force out the BKB charge and they don't lose the Rex or the tier 3. I think Vega, and that's because NiP respect Vega's high ground. They know what we've been talking about from minute one, which is you overextend, you get Fissure block, maybe there's a Blink Echo, the wall gets dropped into a vacuum Lion stun on 3-4 heroes. Then you can easily throw this lead. So they're not even going to give them a chance. They'll back off and just farm. They're going to need more items, it seems.
And NiP are playing for the timing victory. And for everyone out there might be thinking we're just doing Mr. Part of the stream. It kind of is, because like you still understand the fact that Vega has that win potential. And NiP understand that, so as you said, they're not giving that chance to Vega. You sit back, you farm up, you don't let them have your big calls with kill streaks. You don't set the Bristleback back by like 50 seconds of not farming, which is a crap ton of money, but also the goal he'll end up losing from dying and giving over. You don't give this potential to Vega, which means Vega have to come outside the base and fight NiP, which is exactly what NiP want.
And some lineups have bad base defense, right? Like we've seen lineups with like Spirit Breaker, Night Stalker, Chen. These heroes do not hold the high ground, but Vega have it. This is an actual meat grinder if you walk into it too early. So I think they're wise to sit back. That they have to take some risks though. They can't just sit in the base the whole game. And it goes back to the vision game that you brought up earlier. It continues to be an issue for them. Looking at Dire Vision right now, I don't think they have a single ward on the map. They have creeps pushing mid and bottom.
They're blind.
That's it. And it makes it so difficult to make any plays as a team.
This is the reason why they had the Leshrac pushing the bottom lane before. It's like, well, what do we do? Okay, we can't go to them because we don't know where they are. So build it and they will come. Put the Leshrac down that bottom lane and say, if you want to kill him, you got to come to us, and then they pounce. But the problem is every time they do that, it's just so obvious. Now, this is the best chance they've had so far. Except it's nighttime. They don't have the vision. They can't see NiP running at them until NiP are practically on top of Vega. So Era is a frontline runner. They're around the corners. The spray came out. There's your Observer Ward. The instant hex on Era with the cooldown as well. This may just be enough for them, but the Lion so injured. Seems like he's so low. Era's just got so much physical damage. He's beaten through the wall. Passes me nice as well. The cooldown's already lost. There comes your Fissure with the Sonic Wave. Vega's down 2 heroes, and it's not going to end there. Mag's gonna drop with Limp sitting on the edge. Maybe Unison farm. No, even he can't die. That's it. It's a team wipe. In the words of the wonderful Caracaster, they're all dead.
Jesus, man, that was brutal. They get the jump, but it's on the worst possible hero. It's like, oh, cool, we found one. Oh wait, it's Bristleback. There's just no way they're killing him to start the fight, and certainly not when they didn't expect it. And I don't know. It was just one of those things, like they drop the ward, they see everything, they react first, but NiP have enough of a lead that they can afford to get caught on a hero like Bristle. And there's no solution for the BKB Bristleback. They don't have, we saw last game, no survivor, great counter for this type of play.
I'm hearing a lot of action right now. Oh, that's, okay, they're inside a shot. I'm like, is someone dying right now?
It's okay, Toby.
There's definitely someone dying in my ears.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Our producer is telling you to
Dire's bottom tower.
It's not possible without dominant NiP.
Hey, dude, we've both taken enough pills to get us upright for today. So, picking ourselves off the sick bed.
Think of the children, Toby.
I am thinking of the children. That's why we're doing this class together. We sacrifice knowledge for...
I don't know where you're going with this.
I don't know what I'm going for either. Like, what do we even bring, LG?
We bring a commentary of the game here. So,
Yes.
looking at what Bristleback has picked up, he's got the Assault Cuirass, big item to bring to base here. I still think a Solar Crest would be an excellent pickup for this team. They already have the Glimmer Cape on Handskin as well as Vlad's, and I just love the way NiP have itemized. I don't think there's a single item that you would look at and say that should have been something else. Queen of Pain getting early Orchid, perfect this game because she was snowballing, and it's great against at least 3 or 4 of these heroes. Yeah, you've got some BKB carries, but they're not going to have them early. The Puck Blink, I mean, that's pretty obvious. Yule's fantastic to just be disruptive in the fights, prevent the Earthshaker counter initiation, and catch the Darkseer when he's trying to surge away. BKB coming out on Queen of Pain makes her essentially immortal. Bristleback, just your standard aggressive optimization. And I think the Wisp items just they're such good utility items for the position they're in. Now, you've got 2 cores and an enemy who are unkillable, absolutely unkillable, unless they're caught 1v5. And even then, I'm not sure you could get that kill, because there's always the defensive relocate, the defensive glimmer.
It's such a comfort zone for NiP.
Oh, they found Solo. Limp knew he was lurking. He likes these cheeky little plays. Where are you going, Bubba? Nowhere fast. Right back to the well. They can't leave the base.
You can't. You actually have to wait for NiP to come up. If you could push your own wave so it reaches your own base quicker, that would actually favor Vega right now.
How often do you see a hero see the missile get dropped, just walk up and kill it before it starts moving? That's how confident NiP are right now. I think this is where they look to break the base. They have Aegis, they have double Hex, double Sonic Wave, double BKB. They have the Assault Cuirass.
What's that Courier picking up? I think Pasha, he might have wanted to beat an edge. Now he's going to lose his life. He has buyback available, but he can't really do much with it. That Courier's there. Okay, even the Courier just got sniped out.
No mercy. This is brutal. 27 to 4.
That was the play now. That might have been the difference between Darkseer living and dying, or just
To me, this is the closest thing we've seen to a perfect game out of anyone this tournament.
Oh yeah.
At least it's the early laning stage. They just have not made a mistake. NiP now breaking the base here, looking for the range racks. No one trying to hold the line. The stun's off the mark, and I don't even think Eric cares if it hits him anyway. He just keeps on going in a bit deeper. They bring down the range racks. The melee almost finished off, and I mean, what do Vega do? They do not want to buy back on Gyro. I almost think you give up this lane of racks because you need another big item on it, but and then it's a free racks.
You just sell tickets to a building destruction. You can make a fortune of this Vega.
This is looking like that episode of The Wire. They jump in a bit further. No one lifted, dropped the walls there as well. Mag, there's a rough pressure. Queen of Pain, another Hex is coming. There's the O, connects onto Solo. Trapped on the rear, barely TP's out, but he ends up dying anyway, I believe, to the coil break there. And, well, Jonas low on the way out here. They did end up forcing this Gyro to rejoin the fight with the buyback. The Leshrac also bought back, but I don't really think they can hold this, Toby.
They can't.
This may be game.
They've expended everything they've got. Era's seeing it coming from a mile away. When the 2 feet go up in the air, you step right and then come back for the do-si-do. Bringing down the melee racks, then you can bring down the bottom. There's nothing that can stop him. Era is just so pumped. Even Unison pumped. They were so close to killing him off. And then he's just like blinking away. I'll regenerate, come back again. Oh, I didn't even have to. Had an Aegis and the Immortal up my sleeve. Okay, yeah. Good luck, Vega. This is that whole wonderful position where one great team fight could win it all for you. Like maybe if they can get a huge ass Echo Slam, and even the last fight, the Echo Slam never came. Unison farm, there's the Aegis Immortal pop, lives in the middle of it. He dream called the wall up. What do we end up stealing? It was a Nurse Spike for the Rubik if everything else wasn't up. Finally, they actually kill off Unison farm, but Era is still standing. They have to get rid of him for now. No one's doing some good work with the Pulse Nova, but Era, he's very low. He isn't back in a drop, but this is when NiP use their money to basically win the game. They've just brought back every hero they had, BT them in, and walked to victory.
All right, let's see if there's anything left in the tank for Vega. They've got no Darkseer ultimate, no call down available, no Echo Slam, no buybacks. It's 5 on 3 right now with no buybacks, no big ultimates. I actually don't think they can hold any longer. This will be a second lane of racks. The Glyph also not available. They'll take down the melee. Era turns his attention to the range, and with this, 2 lanes of racks to nothing. Tier 2 still being held in mid and top for NiP. I think you just GG out at this point if you're Vega. It is a best of 3. They'll have a chance to reset, but they got worked here in game number 1.
That they did, and I don't...
30,000 gold lead.
Like, I'm looking at this for Vega coming into game number 2, and they cannot be as passive with the heroes they pick, or else NiP is going to do this to them again. You got your back end. Where's your Echo Slam? Okay, I'm not even going to say it. The cooldown's actually doing some work, though. Rubik is going to die in the end with a fly cannon damage out from the gyro, but Era is still alive on the high ground. Houndscoop maybe not going to survive as long, and in comes your Sonic Wave. Pasha on 55 HP is able to run himself away to safety to heal up to fight another day, but there's still so many heroes of the core heroes of NiP left standing inside the base. Even there's that TP coming in from no one. If they can isolate Era here at least, okay, he just basically battled and sacrificed his life for Megas. Even though Hanson's going to come back in again and try and keep him alive, this may not survive for much longer because there's still a large amount of damage. The rocket's right behind him, the lightning slowed him down, so Hanson's going to drop. And Era, well, okay, he is just legging it. Like, he is like, that's not even a 100-meter sprint. He's going for the full 400-meter victory here with golden medal, and just starts up again.
They can't even get the cooldown off after the missile hits. That's how fast he is. Even if they get even if they get 5 kills there, they can't win because they're still tier 2s and there's still a couple of buybacks. It was an unwinnable position for Vega at that point.
Yeah, it really was, and you can see it coming. Like we're looking at it. It's like, okay, this was coming for 30 minutes. This was the guy standing in front of the steamroller. The horrible scene in Austin Powers, where it's just like, no.